In 2014, healthcare and drug-related acquisitions exceeded $200 billion, and this year could top that figure. It's keeping the Department of Justice's Antitrust Division very busy. I spoke to the DOJ's Assistant Attorney General and Head of Antitrust, Bill Baer, and we talked about the uptick of deals, particularly multi-billion-dollar deals, I should add, in healthcare insurance.
We are well aware not only of what's been announced, but of what's been reported in the press, and we have to go at this sort of in a dual fashion. One is look at each deal on the merits. Ultimately, if we have a problem with a deal, we've got to convince a judge, a court, that that deal is problematic. At the same time, a trend toward consolidation in the healthcare insurance market is something we need to factor in, and we need to be prepared to present that evidence to the court, which at the end of the day is asked to predict, is this transaction likely to diminish competition in the healthcare insurance market?
Bill, a lot of the industries your division polices are dynamic. Conditions can change quickly. How often does the government find that a deal it declined to block has ultimately led to anti-competitive behavior later?
It does happen on occasion where, looking back, we wish we had known then what we know today, but there's not a lot of benefit to second-guessing a decision made 3-5 years ago and beating yourself up over it. What you do is learn from that experience. Merger enforcement, in particular, is a predictive exercise, and we are presented with a lot of information from merging parties, from third parties, from consumers, from customers, and we need to make the call about whether a particular deal is likely to diminish competition. And most of the time we think we get it right.
Is that what's happening with airlines today?
I can't really comment on airlines other than to say that a couple of years ago we thought there was a problem with U.S. Air and American combining without some meaningful divestitures that opened up capacity-constrained or slot-constrained airports around the country. We ultimately allowed that deal to go through, but only with divestiture of gates at DCA, National Airport here in D.C., up at LaGuardia, down in Dallas, at Chicago, all places where the legacy carriers, the big guys, had all the flights, and there was no opportunity for the competition to get in the door.
I guess what I'm getting at is this. Now that some time has passed, might it be worthwhile, I'll put it that way, rethinking some of the implications of not just the American-U.S. Air deal, but the Northwest Delta merger and the United Continental merger?
I think what one needs to do is learn from past experience and to factor that into how you view that predictive judgment we need to make as to the next acquisition. So continually monitoring where you've acted and the results from that, as well as where you have decided not to act, and factoring that into the next decision is really a key part of our job.
Bill, I know you're leading the Justice Department's investigation of foreign exchange and financial benchmark manipulation. Has anything made you confident that the message you hear at the top is going to find its way down to the bottom?
I have seen some impressive efforts to educate, to evaluate a performance on an individual personnel basis, which suggests that there is good faith there to try and turn it around. As I said, only time is going to tell whether it's going to produce that change in mindset. But these banks have paid a lot of money to resolve a whole lot of problems over the last 3 or 4 years, and it's in their interest, their shareholders' interest, to basically avoid getting into trouble in the first place. That's the most efficient way of dealing with a problem. It's avoiding creating the problem.
That was Bill Baer. He is the Assistant Attorney General for the Antitrust Division at the Justice Department. Matt, lawyers like Bill Baer choose their words very carefully. I just want to draw attention to the fact that when he talked about consolidation in the healthcare insurance business, he used the word courts, which is to say that the Justice Department is very mindful of the potential for the number of healthcare insurers to shrink dramatically. We've got Aetna buying Humana and a number of other potential deals. It's going to be really important for those deals to get announced and which one gets through Justice Department clearance first, because the other ones potentially could be trouble.